Hey guys, what's going on? Rodimus Prime here. It is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. Hopefully the vibes are good and your mind is sharp. And today we're going to be doing, as I say every week, it's my favorite video of the week. We're going to be making our predictions for the fourth major of the 2022 season of the Call of Duty League. This is the final major, the final opportunity for teams to get points to qualify for champs. Two teams have already qualified, Atlanta FaZe and Optic Texas. 6 spots are open. 6 teams will fill into those spots by the end of this tournament, and we will have our champs 1 through 8 seeding. It's going to be a great tournament. I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions on the matches. I'm going to give my prediction on who's going to win this tournament, and I'm going to break that all down for you today. So sit back, relax, and let's look at my predictions for Major 4 for the 2022 season of the Call of Duty League. So as you can see here, guys, I have made my own bracket of the tournament. I've already filled out all the positions of each of the bracket. I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions for each of these first rounds of matchups, see who wins, kind of go from there. And as I've said, I filled out this bracket already, so that's why it's kind of displayed the way it is, so you guys don't see things before they're supposed to happen. But we're going to get right into this. And our first matchup, as you can see right here, it is London Royal Ravens versus Toronto Ultra. This is kind of a grudge match. London is coming in with a 4-1 win-loss record on qualifiers. They have played extremely well. I feel that they would have had a 5-0 had it not been for massive delays the final day of qualifiers. And if you look at the back and forth between Benjamin Bance and Trey Zero, Trey has the advantage in terms of win-loss at a staggering rate. I believe when they've played head-to-head, Trey has a 10-1 win-loss against Benjamin Bance. And with that being said, I look at history and I also look at how teams are performing. Ultra came into this tournament playing very, very poorly. They have not been playing well, and I think that that's going to play against them. I think that they're going to play extremely well against London, though. I think it is going to be a close series, and I think it is going to come down to that 5th and final map. But based upon what I'm seeing, I'm going to give this one to London. I think they're going to take it 3-2, advance in the major, and I think they're going to knock down Toronto into that loser's bracket of death. It's one of the toughest loser's brackets we've ever had in a tournament, and I think it's going to be insane whoever comes out of that. So Toronto's going to get knocked down. They're going to lose that first matchup 3-2. Next up, we have Los Angeles Thieves versus Atlanta FaZe. LAT, I believe, went 3-2 in qualifiers, same as Atlanta FaZe. I've got certain feelings about both of these teams. I think that LA Thieves has played the best in qualifiers up to this point, but they're playing Atlanta FaZe, and FaZe has their number. I feel FaZe is going to return to dominance. I think this is going to be their event to take, and I think they're going to start off with LA Thieves. I think they're going to dismantle them quickly. I think it's going to be a 3-0. I think we've got Call of Duty Awards right around the corner. And it is my opinion that this year's MVP should be Cellium. MC has played the best in his entire career. There have been matches that they have won based upon him dropping like a 1.2, a 1.4. I want you to go find me a series where he is negative this year. The guy has played outstanding. I think he is deserving of MVP. It's his year to win. And with that being said, FaZe is going to beat Thieves 3-0. And it's not going to be close. So that's my opinion on it. And yeah. In our third matchup of Thursday, if I'm correct here, let me look at the times. FaZe is actually the final matchup on the day. That is fine. We're going to go with our third matchup, which would technically be our second matchup. And that's going to be Boston Breach versus Florida Mutineers. This one, I think, is going to be Breach's tournament to make it very far. I think that Vivid has brought a new energy to that team. I think he plays well with Nero, and I think he plays well with TJ Halley. If Methods can go even, I think this team does very well in this tournament. If Methods does not go negative, because I believe he is the leader of that team. I believe he is the one that really drives that team in terms of how they perform with the energy that they have as a team. And I think Florida actually got worse. I think that they actually regressed with the team decisions they made. And so in this one, I'm going to take Boston Breach to win it. I think that they're probably going to win it 3-1. If Florida takes one, it's going to be S&D. But I think Boston probably wins the first hard point, wins the control, and then wins the second hard point. So Boston advances winning 3-1. And for my fourth matchup would be third matchup on the day. It is New York Subliners against Minnesota Rokkr. I would have picked Subliners to win this matchup, but unfortunately, Hydra has been diagnosed with COVID, and I don't think he's going to be able to attend the event. So they're going to have to bring in a substitute. And their substitute currently is Clayster. And Clayster and Crimsix have bad blood, and I don't think they're going to play well together. Clayster can play well, yes, but I don't think with this team. They've tried this, and for me, I think Hydra's loss is so big for Subliners. And I feel bad because I feel that they would have gone very far in this tournament had it not been for Hydra getting COVID. So with that being said, I think Minnesota takes this, and I think they take it 3-1 or 3-2. I feel bad for New York because they did everything that they could to get to this point, and then Hydra gets COVID. So with that being said, in the first four, you've got London advancing to play Atlanta FaZe, and you've got Minnesota Rokkr advancing to play Boston Breach in winners round 2. So now we go ahead and we move on to day 2. This will be Friday when this starts, starting at 10:30 a.m. We've got Los Angeles Thieves playing Paris Legion. Paris is coming into this tournament not having won a match in God knows how long, and Thieves have just been on the heels of a 3-0 to Atlanta FaZe. With that being said, I don't think Paris is going to go out without a fight, and I think that they are going to get a win here. I think that when they have gotten a win, it has been on LAN, and I think that that's when they play best. I don't think Donnie wants to go out like that, and I think Paris is going to play up to what they can do, and I think that they're going to take this 3-2, and Thieves is going to get eliminated. And with Thieves getting eliminated, they're going to join Paris as being a team that will not make champs. So Paris and Thieves will be the first two teams not to qualify for champs. Next up, we will have Los Angeles Guerrillas playing Toronto Ultra. This is a very interesting match for the simple fact of Ultra will be coming off of a tough loss to Ravens, but Guerrillas are not that great of a team. I think that they're still kind of in the same boat that they were. Inconsistencies being abound. I think Ultra's probably going to take this because I don't think they're going to go out like that. I think they're going to make champs. And with that being said, I just don't see Neptune. I just don't see Slasher, Hook, those guys playing up to par. So I'm going to give this one to Ultra. They're probably going to win it 3-1, more than likely. Next up, we have got New York Subliners playing Optic Texas in a grudge match. I think there's going to be some trash talk. I think that Optic is going to come out and being in the losers bracket, and they're not going to go out like that. I hate to say it, but New York is probably not going to do well this tournament. I really feel bad for them, but without Hydra, they just aren't the same team. And so I think Optic with Illy on LAN has always been really good. And I think they're going to beat Subliners, and I think it's going to be 3-1. And Subliners will be the third team, because of Hydra not being there, to not make champs this year. So that'll be Thieves, Subliners, and Paris Legion so far. And in our final matchup, it's going to be Seattle Surge versus Florida Mutineers. Seattle is in the losers bracket as well. And as I said, it's a death bracket down there. And unfortunately, Seattle's probably going to win. Probably going to beat Florida. It's not going to be close. Fred, Sib, Mac, Accuracy. They just won the last major. They're a good team overall. They play well together, and I think they're going to play well here. And with that being said, I think Seattle's going to take this. I think they're going to probably take it 3-0, 3-1, and advance. And Florida will be your fourth team not to make champs. My prediction when this tournament is over, let me clarify this, and this is on Friday after these loser bracket matchups, is my opinion. And when this is all said and done, your 4 eliminated teams that will not be making champs this year are Paris Legion in the 12th spot. I'm going to put Subliners in that 11th spot. I'm going to put Florida in that 10 spot, and I'm going to put Thieves in that 9 spot, just barely missing the cutoff. And those are going to be your 4 teams that probably are not going to make champs this year. Our final matchup Friday, it's going to be Paris versus Toronto Ultra. In this one, I feel bad because this is where Paris ends. Unfortunately, Ultra's probably going to win this, probably 3-2, 3-1, and Paris will end with the lowest CDL total in history at 30 points. I feel really terrible for them, but their tournament will come to an end, and Toronto will advance into Elimination Round 3, which will take place on Saturday. Starting out Saturday, we've got Optic Texas versus Seattle Surge. This is going to be a great matchup to start Saturday out with. Optic is going to be coming very hungry, but the fact is that Seattle has always played Optic extremely well on land. It seems like when Optic plays them, they have struggles. And with that being said, I think Optic is probably going to lose this in a grueler. And I think Seattle's probably going to win in the final search and destroy 3-2. And Optic's going to be eliminated, and they're going to have to prep for champs at the number 2 seed. I don't think anybody's going to overtake them. I think they're going to remain at the 2 seed, and they have to get ready. They have to prepare. It's going to be a long trip back to Texas, but I think it's going to be reflective, and I think that they're going to look at what went wrong, and they're going to go, okay, this is what we need to improve upon. Then Saturday at noon, we've got our first matchup of Winners Round 2. It is London Royal Ravens playing Atlanta FaZe. This is also going to be a grueler. This is going to go the 5-game series. London is going to play FaZe extremely well, but as I said, FaZe on land always gets to championship rounds, and I think that this time is going to be no different. They're hardly going to lose this bracket. I think last tournament was the first time we've seen them lose bracket in a long time. With that being said, FaZe takes this in a grueler, 3-2. London goes down to the losers bracket. We then follow that up with Minnesota Rocker at Boston Breach. And as I've said from the beginning of these qualifiers, Vivid has made the biggest difference on Boston. It's not even a question. They're playing so much better than they were. And I think that that's going to be the difference in this matchup. I think he really plays extremely well with this team. And I think that with that being said, I think Boston's probably going to win this 3-1 and send Minnesota down to losers bracket. And it's going to be interesting to see Boston play Atlanta FaZe next. So that's the first half of Saturday's matches. We first have Seattle Surge playing Minnesota Rocker. I think this is where Minnesota's tournament ends. I think Seattle takes this. I think they take it 3-1. I think Seattle's the better team when these two teams play. I just think that Seattle has more firepower, and I just don't think Minnesota does that well on land. With that being said, Seattle takes this 3-1, 3-0, moves on in the elimination bracket. And to round out Saturday, we've got London playing Toronto. This is going to be another banger. This is going to be another grueler. But if statistics have shown us everything, and I always like to base my results off statistics because those are things that are proven based upon play, I'm going to take London to win this. I think it's going to be another 5-game series, and I think they're going to go ahead and beat Toronto, and Trey Zero is going to move on in the bracket with his team. I really cannot understate Gizmo's value to this team. So it's going to be interesting to see Seattle play London in the final day of the tournament. Next up, starting up Sunday, we will have London Royal Ravens playing Seattle Surge. This one's going to go back and forth, but I think London's going to take it overall. I think London is going to prove that they're a top 3 team this tournament. I think they're going to beat Surge in a grueler. As I've been saying, there's going to be a lot of those tournaments because people are playing for champ positions. And I think London's going to assert itself as the number 3 team. I think they're going to beat Surge 3-2. I think they're going to take that final search. And they're going to move on to the losers bracket finals and wait the loser of FaZe and Breach. Which then brings us to our next matchup. We've got Atlanta FaZe playing Boston Breach. I think Vivid is a real turning point for that Boston team, but at the same time, I gotta give it up to FaZe. I think FaZe is going to take this tournament. I really do. I cannot understate that. And I think that they're going to be Boston 3-1. I think FaZe is going to lose one of the hard points, and then I think they're going to win the search, the control, and the second of the hard points. So I think FaZe takes this 3-1, and Boston goes down to the losers bracket finals, where our losers bracket finals will be London versus Boston. And in our losers bracket finals, I think this one is going to be close, but not as close as some of the other matches London has played. I think London doesn't look at Boston as much of a challenge. I think they will still play them like they are a challenge. And with that being said, I think London beats Boston 3-1 fairly quick fashion. Not really much to say. I think that the one game they will lose will be control, because London sucks at control. And I think that they're going to move on and they will face FaZe in the grand finals. And so now we have a rematch of earlier in the tournament, London Royal Ravens playing against Atlanta FaZe. I had FaZe winning in that one 3-1. I think this one is going to be no different. I think London, when it comes to FaZe on LAN, has always had struggles, and I think FaZe is probably going to take both of the controls. I think that they will probably take one of the hard points, one of the searches, probably take two of the hard points, honestly. So with that being said, I think FaZe just looks dominant this entire tournament. I don't think they ever have a 5-game series in anything they play. I think total they have to play 1, 2, 3, 4 matches or 4 series, and they just steamroll the competition and they end up winning this entire tournament. And I think they win this tournament 5-2. So here's my entire bracket broken down here. As you can see, I've got FaZe coming out, winning their matchup. I think it's going to be really good. I think that this tournament's going to play out pretty well. And I think FaZe is going to be over 350 points by the time this tournament's done. And they're going to look like the #1 overall seed. And they're going to use that to go into champs. And I feel bad for whoever the 8 seed is, because that's not going to be a fun position to be in. But my standout performances from this tournament, these are my predictions. I think Boston Breach is going to go farther than people give them credit for. I think London making it to the finals. I don't see a lot of people predicting that. New York, I think if Hydra does play, I think you can see New York down here in this position where Minnesota is playing against Surge, but I still think New York would probably lose to Surge, and if they beat them, they would lose to Ravens. So Hydra plays, I think New York advances farther, but if Hydra doesn't play, then New York's out 2 and done. Not advancing, loses to Optic, loses to Minnesota. So my standouts for this tournament: London, Breach, FaZe. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be an awesome tournament to watch. Starts Thursday, which is tomorrow, and these matchups are going to be solid. But yeah, guys, these are my predictions for Major 4. But all right, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the predictions and opinions stated in this video are my own, so you don't got to agree with them. But I appreciate you sitting through the entirety of the video. If you could do me just one more small favor before you go, if you could please like the video and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow.